On April 23rd, the news market hosted a panel discussion in Washington, D.C. to examine if the Obama administration has kept its promise of transparency 100 days in. The event was attended by journalists, public affairs professionals, and members of the Obama administration. The panel was moderated by Shobha Purushothaman, co-founder and chairman of the news market, and featured Jane Hall, associate professor at American University, Michael Isikoff, investigative correspondent for Newsweek, Hisham Melhem, bureau chief, Al Arabiya, and Simon Wilson, editor, America's Bureau, BBC News. Here are some of the highlights.
We're going to launch straight into the topic. I'm going to ask each of them to just take a couple of minutes to give us their quick analysis and take on the promise of transparency that the Obama administration came into power on. And really, are they there? Are they getting there? There's been quite a lot. We've had the torture memos. We've had TARP. We've had, who knew who was getting paid what when, and all of that. So without any further ado, Simon?
Our pitch is to the administration at the moment is quite a lot about access and what we would like. So, on that level, we are encouraged by what they say to us about what they want to do, how they want to have dealings with the international media. It is only 100 days, and the honest answer is not a lot of that has been translated yet into actions. Definitely, we feel we are treated with a little bit more seriousness than we have been in the past here in Washington. Our journalists at the White House do get access to the seat of power. We do get our questions answered. We do get snippets of information when we need them. But to come back to my point at the beginning, we want more. We want more.
I have to say I was surprised that this became probably one of the biggest issues for him, and I'm talking about the release of these torture memos, in which, if you talk to White House and administration officials, this was one of the most difficult decisions Obama's, if not the most difficult decision Obama's had to make in office, which is amazing when you think of everything on his plate. This is one case where I'll applaud him and say he stood his ground and he ordered the disclosure of these documents. We got a lot more tests to come, but at least so far, I'd have to say he's passing.
I do think Obama pretty much said Iraq bad, Afghanistan good war, and I think that it's sort of being dismissed as criticism from the left, fears from the left. If you have a sense of history and you're old enough, we started in Vietnam with a Democratic president and advisors, and we got into a quagmire. And, I'm not stating a political point of view here, but I do think there's sort of a question about how many things can the media focus on. Again, there are not that many organizations that even have people on the ground because of the security and because of the cutbacks and because of everything else. I think he'd rather not really stand before the press corps and mix it up with them. I think his first press conference, basically, he gave one answer that was a speech to the American people. But I think that he does have a tendency to want to go out unfiltered, possibly because that's how he got elected.
This is a man who has a great analytical skill. This is a man who has obvious, keen intellect. And he has a more sophisticated, nuanced understanding of the world. Of the new dynamics in the world. This country is not as powerful as it used to be. And we have to search for units and brigades from Iraq to send them to Afghanistan. And America's enemies are very aware of that. And I think that's the dilemma that he's going to face. When he extends his hands to the likes of Hugo Chavez or Mahmoud Ahmadinejad and others, because he will probably be seen by some of them as another Carter. And he will probably be tested by some of them because they will sense that he is weak, the way Nikita Khrushchev wanted to test another young American president named John F. Kennedy.
I'm a big believer in reporting. Talk is cheap. Reporting is expensive. And that's one of the huge problems we have now. And if you look at blogs, there are not that many so far that have been able to support reporting. If you took away, if the media died, you would lose a lot of what's on blogs, because a lot of what's on blogs is criticism of what's in the media. And the trick is the business model.
We, as the kind of, the old school media, we have to take the message. We don't have a divine right to do this. We have to prove that we have a right. Where the danger comes is a lot of this new media stuff does not leave room for questioning.